Please excuse any mispronunciations in this story. I mean no disrespect. This story is about Tionda Z. Bradley and Diamond Yvette Bradley, who vanished from Lake Grove Village Apartments in Chicago, Illinois on July 6, 2001. They were 10 and 3 years old at the time. Tionda would be turning 32 today, and Diamond would have turned 25 years old as of last November 25th. Tionda's father is unknown. Diamond's father, George Washington, and mother Tracy were not together at the time of the disappearance. Tionda liked to run track at school, loved dancing, and is remembered by her cousin as speeding down the streets on her bicycle. She even won local awards for her running and gymnastic abilities. Her favorite song was Queen's I Want It All, and her favorite movie was Blade. She also enjoyed playing dolls with her older sister. Diamond was at the age where she began expressing her rapidly developing personality. She was sometimes a bit stubborn. She was always jumping on the couch and sneaking food from others. Their other two sisters, Rita, age 12, and Victoria, age 8, were staying at the grandmother's and making plans to celebrate Victoria's birthday, which was on Saturday. On that fateful Friday morning, Diamond's father arrived at around 4:30 a.m., whereupon he stayed until he took Tracy to work at approximately 6 to 6:30 a.m. Tracy was employed at Robert Taylor Park, where she was preparing lunches for the summer camp kids. Their plan was for George to come back after Tracy's shift and pick her up. They planned to return to the apartment for the girls and set off for a camping trip in Indiana, although the trip would mean that they would all miss Victoria's birthday. It was sometime between 11 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. when Tracy and George got back to Tracy's home. Tracy found the front door locked, but neither of the girls were home. The only sign of what had happened to them was a handwritten letter claiming to be from Tionda on the back of the couch, explaining where the girls were going. Some reports say that they were going to the store and then the playground. Others say they were going to Tionda's school and then stopping by Lake Meadows Shopping Center, right across the street from the school. Tionda was enrolled in summer classes at Doolittle Elementary, just a couple of blocks away, and their mother did not initially think it was strange. She assumed Tionda might have just taken Diamond with her to school instead of skipping class. As time passed, the girls never came back. Tracy later testified that she scoured the neighborhood looking for them, but couldn't find them. It is not clear how much George contributed to the search. Tracy finally submitted a missing persons report to police that night around 6:30 p.m., 12 hours after telling the girls goodbye that morning. Several children in the neighborhood later testified they saw the sisters playing near their home and in the school playground around noon, but none of the staff at the school confirmed seeing them there. Diamond had left behind her backpack, suggesting they didn't plan to be gone long, and nothing was taken that suggested a runaway situation, nor was there any history amongst the children of running away. The case was initially treated as a missing persons case, given that there was never any evidence that the girls were actually abducted. Nonetheless, the manhunt was massive initially, involving more than 100 police officers and the FBI. Police and the community scoured the neighborhood, going apartment to apartment and combing all nearby natural areas and parks. They searched roofs, sewers, stairwells, elevator shafts, lakes, lagoons, parks, cornfields, paint factories, drive-in movie theaters, and more. They even searched more than 5,000 abandoned buildings in the city, but still there was nothing. Police investigated many leads, including an anonymous caller who said they were a minister and had a vision of 2 bags being cast out into the water. They also looked into a lead that the girls may have been buried in a nearby nature preserve after 2 areas were found with freshly turned dirt. One psychic tipster said the girls were being kept as slaves in a small town. Family suggests it was unlikely that the girls were taken by a stranger because both girls were relatively shy around strangers. They also believed it was highly unusual for Tionda to have written or left a letter. Even though it seemed to be her handwriting, it was not how she spoke. Plus, she would always just call or send a message to her mom on the phone directly. Some people theorize that they were taken by someone familiar to them and was aware that they were alone without supervision. It's hard to understand how the timeline could have worked. I read a lot of theories and none made logical sense. If someone told Tionda what to write, though, maybe they gave the girls a ride to the school. Maybe to make the note more believable, they wanted the girls to be seen playing. Tracy passed a polygraph test shortly after they disappeared. However, police later noted that she became less cooperative as time passed. For example, in March 2002, she pushed an officer and was taken to the station handcuffed. The officer said he was just asking her to accompany him to the police station to discuss new leads they had uncovered. Police started to question her, but her attorney put an end to it. After this, Tracy became less willing to work with police and failed to appear at several appointments with them. Nonetheless, she is not a suspect in the case. It is unknown if she was hiding something or tired of the police not finding her daughters. 2 men police investigated were linked to the girls as possible paternal connections. The first was a Moroccan man that had been paying child support for Tionda under the belief that he was her father. Tracy filed a paternity lawsuit against the man a month before the girls vanished, but the case proved he was not biologically related to Tionda and had been wrongfully paying child support for some time. It is not clear when he learned the truth, but hairs were found in his trunk that DNA testing matched to the Bradley family. It could not, however, show whether the hair was one of the girls' or their mother, and an FBI trip to Morocco revealed nothing. The second was Diamond's father. There's one report saying that the morning the girls disappeared, Tionda called her mother and left voicemail around 8:30 a.m. In it, she said a man named George was at the door and asking if she should let him in. However, there were other men named George in their lives, so it was not clear who precisely she was referring to. Also, in the voicemail that might have existed, Tionda said they were going to a store to get a cake for Victoria's birthday, even though they were going to miss the birthday for a camping trip. Police have repeatedly re-interviewed and reinvestigated the extensive family surrounding the girls. They even searched the girls' great-grandfather's Wisconsin home, but nothing was ever found. Tips still continue to appear ever so often, but none lead to any results. Although almost 20 years have passed, Tionda and Diamond's family continue to search for them. As long as the search continues, they hope to keep their sister's memory alive. Tracy had 2 other children in the years that passed. Rita and Victoria still remind their siblings and cousins of the girls that vanished. In 2016, the extended family of almost 50 people held a public vigil for the girls, lifting up their prayers and releasing white balloons in their honor. Tionda has a quarter-sized scar from a burn on her left forearm. Diamond has a scar on the left side of her head. I would like to believe that someone raised Tionda and Diamond after they vanished over 21 years ago, no matter how the girls came into their custody, and I hope someday they will be found safe. If anybody has any possible leads in this case, please check out the contact information in the description. Thank you.